All right, y'all. Charles here from the Traders Corner. So again, just gonna be taking y'all through a quick analysis video today, and just looking at a couple pairs that are on my watch list heading into this week. A couple areas. So just to get it started, those pairs are gonna be Euro, JPY, USD CAD, and just as I always I start on the weekly. So on the weekly, I can see, and I'm gonna just delete all this. I was doing this earlier. So as I can see on the weekly, let's see this here, right? And then go down to the daily. Two most recent significant touches. For me, that makes sense. Right here, right? Parallel price action, cool. Down to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, first this, well. 4 hour, you can see this as well. So we have this descending, right? And so from the weekly, this descending tells me that overall I'm looking for this to likely pop to the upside, or at least come back up here for another touch of this before moving lower if it decides to move lower. But, if that happens, we'll reevaluate then. But mostly with the pattern, I'm looking for it to move to the upside. And also the fact that on the daily, we have this descending pattern as well. This also gives me an indication that we might be moving to the upside. Nothing is nothing is for sure in the market or for certain. Because anything can change at any time. As any trader at any time can step into the market and change it. But basically what I'm saying is, with the patterns and the way that what I've seen through my back testing, I'm looking for these patterns to complete to the upside. But I'm not being naive to the fact that I'm also looking for another touch of this larger pattern on the bottom, right? Or possibly a double bottom. So the fact that we're getting this ascending, it would make sense, right? And it wouldn't be a crazy thing for me to look to take some short-term selling opportunities when they present themselves, right? Because we have this, inside this larger daily descending on the 4 hour, we have a nice impulse, and then another descending as well. And then if we go to the 60, if we honestly just move this back, just for the time being, because we know it's there. We have another one as well. So, and with the way these patterns work, it's just kind of just the flip. With the descending, I'm looking for it to go to the upside. Now with an ascending channel, I'm looking for it to come to the downside. But it kind of makes sense because I'm looking for it to come to the downside, to double bottom, or to get another touch of this larger descending trend line to then move to the upside. And basically, I'm not just going to enter this trade just here, or even if it just corrects sideways and then drops, just because it could just correct sideways, go down, and then come back up. So I'm going to be looking for it in this area, right? Or if it breaks the pattern in this area. But I'm being very picky this week because something I'm doing, and really the reason why I'm doing this video, is something that I'm doing this week is I'm challenging myself to take much more high probability opportunities. I realized before that I was kind of just taking very, very valid opportunities all over the place. And while there's nothing wrong with them because they were valid, it's not exactly what I want to do with my strategy. I want to move more towards taking more high probability opportunities than valid. And then, just having the valid in there as a way to not force my, I guess you would say, feelings or expectations on the market. Expectations. I'm trying to be very careful about my language that I use to describe the market. So yeah, trying to take, the right amount of valid entries, but make sure that I still take valid entries to, make sure that I don't force my expectations on the market. But that being said, I think there is something to be said for the fact that right now in my back testing, my main focus is valid entries. So I think I haven't really given that thought until earlier today, but like it would make sense that I would be taking more valid entries in that sense because like I'm focusing more on it in my back testing for good, not for any bad reason, but really just to get better at taking them and to better understand them for my strategy. But if I'm gonna if I'm gonna look at it more in my back testing, which I do every day, the RAS is kind of gonna spot them more when I step into the market every day as well. So it's to be expected. Hopefully when I shift to focusing more on high probability opportunities in my back testing very soon as well, that will definitely help as well. But just for this week, I want to challenge myself to really only take high probability opportunities. Obviously, this isn't something that I would do all the time or regularly. Kind of like a challenge, I guess you would say, with my trading. But this early on in my trading and still being very much in a development stage in my trading, I want to take the time to really just slow down and kind of just focus on becoming a better trader and then more so on the money. And if I miss a trade because it was valid and I'm doing this thing this week where I only take high probability or valid but more high probability opportunities, then that's fine by me for this week because I understand that this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it for a good reason. But that being said, I'm looking for this area on the Euro JPY and then also looking at this area as well. If we were to come back up here, well, actually it would be that, yes, that area, or we could come all the way to the top here as well. So that's what I'm looking at on Euro JPY. If this doesn't happen and it ends up moving up here, or failing this and it ends up moving up here, it's likely something that won't probably materialize till later this week. But unless it just drops out to the downside, which is definitely a possibility, I'm not ruling that out at all, which is why if it breaks this pattern and gives me the right type of correction, I'm going to be looking to take that to the downside as well. But failing that, there's going to be a lot of opportunities on this pair if it decides to move to the upside for me this week. So I'm really going to have to be on the ball with that. And really, I'm kind of excited about it because I'm going to have to really use a lot of, okay, this is a high probability opportunity. Let me look at my plan and show in my plan, based on what I've defined as a high probability opportunity, that there's a high probability opportunity or a valid but more high probability opportunity, which are the type of trades that I'm trying to take this week. So that's Euro JPY in a very long-winded explanation of, something I'm trying to teach myself this week. But let's just look into USDCAD as well. And then on USDCAD, see the stuff because I was doing my analysis earlier this morning, but regardless, you can see this here on the top. We see that we came up to this double top, right? Didn't break it, but we did come up to it and we turned around and looking for these lows here, right? Not being naive to the fact that we could come up to this for another double top or to possibly break the double top or just to continue higher, who knows. But what I am seeing right now is it is looking like we're looking to come to the downside. So we're going to go down to the daily now. On the daily, I'm just going to go, there's a lot going on right now and I could put this on. All right. That would make sense. I could put this on. That would make sense. All right. for this to come up here, to double top, to go lower, right? That would make sense. I can make it this. That would make sense, right? But what I have in my rules when I'm in an area like this where the correction is very long is I just stop and I kind of just go to what is most recent, and just from eyeing it I can see that it's this right here. I'm gonna make sure that that's correct on the date, on the 4-hour, but just from eyeing it right here on the daily, it's looking like we have this type of pattern right here, right? So then on the 4-hour, you can see, you know, you come lower, correction, come lower, correction, come lower, correction. A lot of corrections, so definitely could pop back up to the upside like I was talking about, for another double top, or to possibly break above the top and then go lower. But failing that, not being naive to the fact that we could go lower, and there would be more valid but more high probability opportunities, as per my rules in this area, because the higher time frame is pointing to the downside, right? So I don't want to fight the higher time frame in an area where I don't have to, or not have to, but like where in an area where the area I'm looking to take, or the trade I'm looking to take, is in alignment with the higher time frame. So basically what I'm saying is I'm not going to be like naive to anything, but the areas I'm looking for, although this is definitely a valid opportunity, the fact that, well, I'm actually glad I'm doing this right now, because earlier I told myself that I don't think this would be a valid but a little more high probability opportunity, but I think everything that I just described would make it more high probability, valid but more high probability. Although it is just a double top of this pattern here, we do have the fact that we're getting there like this. Right? Getting there like this. So a double top or something in that area would be near completion of this. So we have a completed pattern in this. We have impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Yes, that could go to the upside. So that is the thing that could be better about this trade. But the thing that is great about the trade is the fact that we are in alignment with the higher time frame, and we are in a state of continuation, because, as I said, although this could be a much larger pattern, and it does have a bit of a descent to it, again, I'm not going to fight the higher time frame. This could be somewhat of a running channel, right, to where we see 1, 2, and then we get impulse correction to drop to the downside, So if we want to drop to the downside to complete this pattern, or to double bottom again and then move higher, I have more than enough room to move that to break even. But if this wants to be the pattern to go and to drop out, that's also a possibility as well. And at that point, I'm already in a great trade, right? And I have the completed pattern. I have a pattern within a pattern and another pattern, and we're in line with the higher time frame. So that actually would be more of a high probability, valid, but more high probability opportunity. We could also come up here to this area, complete this pattern here. Would also be a great area for me to take it. And, pretty much after the double top there, if we were to break above this, I would evaluate how we get to these areas. But, these areas would also definitely come into play, being this double top, and this double top as well. So those are the areas I'm looking at on USDCAD and EuroJPY. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it provided some value to you. And please join us again next time. Thank you.